Jim, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. A little tired, but doing great. I don't know why. I think it's very cloudy and dreary outside today. When I woke up, I was saying that I woke up, I had my alarm set for 6 o'clock, and I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and I was ready to start the day. And as soon as I went to start the day, I'm like, okay, now I'm tired already. But I'm keeping it moving along today. So it's all good. So
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm feeling the same way today. I stayed up too late watching TV. Always happens. But I'm plugging away. I'm getting things done, so that's good.
Me too. All good.
Craziness. But so tell me what you did this past week to feel less overbooked before we dive into our new book.
Oh my gosh, I have to think.
I know. I when
I
you
didn't even
asked
have
me
time
this
to think about the
earlier.
question. All right, but then again, we always ask you, what have you done to feel less overbooked? So it's all right.
Right.
Take the time you need. So I'm just thinking about this last week, and I feel like in some ways I've been able to kind of do a little bit of catch up a little bit. So, which is nice. So when I got to, let's say, last weekend, I spent some time outside. I had a little more self-care time for myself, let's say. I was able to I've been going for a walk every day again. So taking at least that 30-minute or more long walk every day. Nice, like a brisk walk, you know what I mean? Just not a run, but kind of in between. So
Right.
it was outside just taking down the rest of the Christmas lights, just kind of just doing some little projects, but at the same time projects that I enjoy doing. And that was pretty much it. Spend a little time with the family, and so it's all good. How about you, Becky?
Wonderful. Well, my life has gotten a little bit crazier. We started basketball. So for those of you who do not know, I also coach. I'm an assistant college women's basketball coach at Lycoming College. So with everything with the pandemic, we just started back up with very, very, very strict protocols, which is awesome that the NCAA is
Mhm.
instilling those things. Um, so a lot of people might think it sounds crazy that I have like this coaching gig then on the side with the full-time job, but I actually it just rejuvenates me. It's a way for me to take off my work hat and put on something else. Um, and those girls keep me young, keep me moving, keep me on my feet. And it's just a different pace. It's a way for me to release that adrenaline. So it's been nice to be back on the floor, yelling at those girls, keeping them in shape. Not really yelling at them, but it's been good to be back in that atmosphere. So
Very nice. I was going to say, and you're only a few years older than them, and you have a lot more energy than most of them. So
it's a lot of coffee, right? A lot of
I'm
coffee.
sure you're an inspiration to all of them. So
Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you,
you
Jim.
are
It's
very
it's a lot of
welcome.
fun. Lots of fun. So, let's talk with everyone about our new book that we're going to get into. I'm really excited. The Energy
You
Bus was
believe
great. Find Your Why was great.
you believe this is our third one now
I
already?
know.
The
I know.
time's
We only have one more. One more. So,
so
those of you that have it, it's exciting. Those of you that do not have it yet, it's all good. Mandy has
yes,
this on digital and um in
Amazon,
text. Yep.
Amazon, and you said I think Barnes and Noble as well.
Yep. So the book is Reignite the Flames, finding our passion and purpose for learning among the embers. So we're just going to sort of talk today about our takeaways from just like the forward and the beginning as well. And then next week we'll debrief the
Mhm.
disengagement focus. But Jim, talk to me. What did you find in just those like three short pages?
Well, first of all, just I always enjoy looking at just as far as the endorsements and like who was writing them, and just just the words powerful, humbling, insightful.
Hmm.
Those first three words that I read in this book, like as far as just the endorsements,
Right.
reading that was inspiring to me. Reading these, going into the dedication as well. The foreword was written by a man named Jim Spoleader. He's the National School Trauma Responsive Trainer. And he, like a former principal as well. And just by as far as his comments, as far as reading, going through the book, as far as working with educators and mental health professionals. All right. So we think about the overwhelming stress every day that can be in our roles, the mandates, the duties, whatever is placed on us every day, that it's like, it's a challenging role. And as teachers, your role every year, I feel like becomes more and more challenging. Not knowing about the times. I mean, look at 2020, for
Right.
example. 2021 right now, like we think about, like in-person learning, we think about remote learning, going back to in-person, the drop of a hat, we could be back in remote the next day. It's so many inconsistencies. And at the same time, you know what, that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. And you know what, and it's honestly, it's like he said some positive like comments as far as teachers and like what we can do to support. So like, for example, when we're able to maintain our focus, we are able to be present in the moment. So think about our focus. We stay engaged and refuse to allow the embers to cause disengagement. That we will get into further along in our book, in our studies and
Mm-hmm.
sessions. So we don't want to be robbed of the joy from living out our passion and our calling. So like a lot of what we're talking about actually will kind of dive back into the other two books that we were reading. So it's kind of like building the progression right now that we're in. So, and by reading this book, far as reigniting the flames, think about following your path. Think about following that journey with a renewed sense of purpose and passion. Why did you get into the role that you're in? Why are you a teacher? Why are you a principal? Why are you a superintendent? Why are you an occupational therapist? Any role that you are in, what is your role? What was your calling to want to be in that role, and taking away from it the success? All right. And maybe I'm going a little bit too far right now at this point, Becky, but any thoughts you wanted to jump in right now before we continue?
No, I think it's great. And I think that this book comes at a perfect time because as an educator, like you said, all of the stress, the protocols, we all deal with it. And I'm not just saying, because this is one of my pet peeves, I'm not just saying educators have stress. I see stress in every job, right? Every job has
Mhm.
stress. Every human deals with stress. But and the same issue about reigniting that passion. So really, this is for anyone in the community,
Absolutely.
not just teachers. But it's that time. It's going to be, it's, it's winter. It's where you start questioning and things like that. So one of my biggest things that I want to make sure that we face is the idea that, we deal with challenges that cause us to question our choices every day in our career. You might deny and say, "Oh my gosh, that's not me." Like I've never questioned my career. It's okay to admit that you have. I know that there are days where I question my career choices. And when I was in the classroom the same way, did I ever think I'd be in this kind of a role? Absolutely not. But I love it. Like you, sometimes it goes with your word, Jim. You follow your journey, and it goes into what Mandy said about I don't love everything I do every day at my job. I don't love every task I'm assigned, but I do it because I love the actual thing that I'm doing. For her, it's teaching. So for me, again, working with future teachers or some of that younger generation here, I always say to them, guys, it's not always sunshine and unicorns and rainbows. Like there are things that you have to do in the grinds that you're not going to do. But if you have that strong passion underneath, it's really important. And so, um with that fire, she says here, or actually Jim says, it comes valuable lessons that make us stronger. And he used an analogy, Jim, that I thought of you because you always have that like trip and journey, like the analogies. Just as steel is put through the fire, it comes out on the other side with incredible strength and durability. So instead of thinking about, oh my gosh, this is all happening to me, think about how this is making us stronger and more durable, right? Um, I I'm a huge person with what he says here. Well, Mandy actually mentions it further on in the book here. We don't have to become victims of the fire. So there's definitely, in my opinion, two different types of people. There's the people that choose to become a victim, and the ones that choose to come out of the fire. And so she goes, the embers do not have to be, do not have the power to cause engagement unless we allow ourselves to become victims. So it's a choice. It's a choice that we make intentionally every day. Um, and again, you and I talked about those embers.
Yes.
The embers are the gift, right? Can you look at it again two ways? Are you the victim or are you coming out on top? You can look at those embers, those trials, as challenges, as life lessons, as gifts, as opportunities. Like our girl Nicole, Dr. Nicole Hahn Sims, says, probability, right? I think I said that last
Yes.
week, right? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about embers. I just, to me, it's that idea of, are you going to choose to become a victim to this? Because everyone faces it. Everyone faces it. We have to be honest with ourselves. If we sat here, Jim, and said, "Oh yeah, guys, everything's fantastic," and no, there are things in our jobs that, just like anyone, you
Yes.
know.
So it's very good thoughts, Becky. I mean, just trying to just navigate, like I said, every one of us, like, we have our strengths. We have areas where we struggle, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It's like, but what can we do to continue to grow, continue to be, and like she made a nice little quote here too, continuing to grow and be better, yet still being content with how far you've come. So like looking back, how far have you come? Okay. And then looking back at your success, would you do it all again the same way? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I look back at my teaching career and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. You know what I mean? And I still have those thoughts, but you know what? I think that's what's helped me to grow to become who I am right now. Okay.
Right.
And I'm still uncertain what's going to happen in the future, but I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to continue growing and continue learning, and like try to learn more tools that I always feel like there's so much more I can like learn. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely do not come across like I know all the answers, because I'm far from all the answers, but I'm willing to learn. It's a lifelong process. So
Right, absolutely. And I think you bring up a really good point of, like, we need to recognize, think about when this pandemic started and you were sent home with a laptop. Think about like how far we've come. Like, I've actually, outside of like my job, I've created a pretty cool home office that I've created by myself. I would have never done that without, this. There's tons of things that have gone wrong. Like, don't even look at the number of nails I have on the bottom of that, and it might break any minute. But like little things like that outside of just the teaching, like we focus so much on the perfection when that doesn't exist. And we've talked about that before, but I had to laugh. Like, I literally wrote, if you can see it, ha, on her paragraph when she said, like, she talks about how she was like that yes girl, and I can definitely relate to that. But she said, when people
yes.
said you're going to get burnout, I said, that's impossible. You can't get burnout doing something you love. And I think back to my first or second year teacher of how even my mom still tells me, Becky, be careful. Um, and I just laugh because I was so naive to that. And I hated to admit, still hate to admit, when am doing too much. But it's really important that, it is a thing, and it's okay to admit, hey, I have too much on my plate right now. But I also think you learn that for yourself. Sometimes you have to go through those burnout moments to realize what can be on your plate and what can't be on your plate. You have the support system and the people riding your bus to help you when you hit that burnout phase, and that's what you need.
Mhm. It's like sometimes we just need that little quick, it's like just to refuel a little bit, or, you know what I mean? Like for us, it's kind of like like stoking the fire or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like turning up the thermostat and like to get a warmer room or something like that, or getting a blanket. You know what I mean? Like I just kind of thinking about those strategies there. And, I was just going to say, Becky, just in that last two paragraphs, um, engagement is a choice. Re-engagement is work.
I read that probably like 5 times.
Yes.
because it's two basic sentences, but so powerful.
Yes. Choosing to engage is your choice. Okay. And then if we need to re-engage, it is work. Do you know what I mean? Kind of putting a plan, like what you want to do. Planning is one thing, but then you know what? Act on it. Follow through. I heard
Abs-
actually this
yeah.
morning, now that I just said that, I just thought about this morning a discussion on one of the radio stations coming into work this morning. And it was talking about as far as, okay, yes, I'm going to get more healthy this year. I'm going to, yep, I'm going to make a vow this year that I'm going to eat better and I'm going to exercise. But you're saying it, but are you doing it? So it's not necessarily going from like 0 to 100. Make that first choice. What's that first thing you're going to do? Okay. Start.
Right. And for me, it goes into that resilience, the resilience part of it. And re-engaging is work. You've got to be willing to put in the work, but you also need to know when to ask for help. And so
Yes.
sometimes people just say, yes, I'm going to re-engage. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go cold turkey, right? Well, who's going to be your support system? Who's going to be your accountability partner? And that goes all the way back to our Find Our Why, Your Why book. That
Yes.
accountability partner. Who is it? Like Jim, you and I talk about our healthy eating or our walks and we talk about that a lot because we hold each other accountable. And I think that's important. For
Mhm.
me, I don't know about you, but my hope out of this book is to be able, and I wrote it here so I know and can focus while I'm reading it, but how do we recognize and empathize when I'm feeling disengaged to get myself re-engaged, but also with others that I'm working with. Sometimes when I'm in an engaged phase, and I'm being very vulnerable and honest here, when I'm in an engaged phase with anything I'm doing, and some people aren't right there with me, it causes a little bit of frustration. And so I'm really interested to see what I can do and how I can empathize with that, because there's going to be times where I'm disengaged and someone else is engaged, and it's like that seesaw. But that's sort of where I'm going and where I'm hoping for this book. So, what about you? What are you hoping for?
I think through this book, I'm looking for just ways that I can continue to grow and to make these choices that I'm thinking about. Like, of course, for my journey for myself this year is my word that I keep focusing on. But at the same time, just as far as maybe to help provide some tools, like when I'm feeling like if there's someone who is struggling, do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Just to be that support, maybe offer this book or just to find just something in the present moment. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Just take that one step at a time. Not look for like 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. Think about, like right now, in the present minute. What
Right.
can you do for you? If you have to disengage and take a little time for yourself and then re-engage again, do so. So,
Right.
just thinking about some of those far as those tools and strategies. So definitely, I think there's a lot to take away from this book. I'm looking forward to learning more strategies and for us to share with each other and to share with all of you. And throughout the next, I think 6 weeks, we're doing this right up until
Yep.
March 2nd.
Second. Mm-hmm.
So please reach out to us as far as if there is something that you're learning from this book that you're now able to do. Please reach out to us. Please share with us. We would love to hear from you. If there's also, please continue to share Reignite the Flames with friends. The links as well. Like I said, we have on our online learning or Learning Hub page, continuity page. So from our Overbook series. So
Yes, and I'm just going to leave you the next session. We're going to be talking about the disengagement portion of the book. And Mandy, I'm super excited to say will be with us March 2nd on our final recording for the book. The author shall be talking with us question and answer. So if you have any questions,
yes,
please shoot them our way. But I'm going to leave you with this quote that she says to start the disengagement section. When we separate ourselves from the things we love, we are also cutting out the passion and purpose in which we live our lives. That in itself is reason enough to focus on re-engagement.
engagement.
So Happy reading, everyone, and we will see you next week.
See you next week, everyone. Have yourselves a great day. Take care.